It's 55-55 Jacksonville.
Man, y'all know what time it is. T-Law got the eyes of Lee Van Cleef when he go in that field.
Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville.
They made a major mistake when they made T-Law go to the spirit of the sky, to the oracle of the saber-toothed tiger, and the saber-toothed tiger now has the scepter in his hand, and he been to put every critic to rest. Man, last night I done marinated 2 turkeys. I got my cherry wood getting ready for my smoker. Just got off from work, off Pritchard Road. I'm going to bake me 2 Cornish hens. My special recipe, I call it the Mediterranean Cornish hen. I'm going to top it off with my homemade Long Island iced tea. And I'm only going to top it off with 1 red top of Coca-Cola. The Maxwell House coffee will live on forever.
Duval!
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Who does not want to start their day off with a little dose of holiday to put you in the right mood there, Tony? I needed that one today. That's a good one. Little postseason palate cleanser, off-season palate cleanser, whatever the case may be. Jags out there hitting the ground and continuing to pursue GM candidates. We'll see. I've really not heard it moving in one direction or the other on that front, Tony, but they do give President Mark Lamping a contract extension. He works on the business side of things, and business pretty good overall for the Jacksonville Jaguars last year, getting the stadium deal done. I mean, you can talk about the on-field business. That's not Mark Lamping's purview. No. What he's done to enhance revenue streams and all that for the Jacksonville Jaguars has him in very good standing with Shad Khan and company. So congrats to Mark Lamping, who has been here as long as Shad Khan has at this point.
Yes, he has, and he'll be here for a little while longer, right? The contract's going to keep him here through at least 2030, and we'll see what things are looking like when we get to that point. But, yeah, the stadium getting done after all the other things that they've done over there from that perspective. Yeah, Mark Lamping not going to be going anywhere, and you can understand why Shad Khan's like, no, Mark's not going anywhere, right? We're locking that down for the foreseeable future, so congrats to Mr. Lamping.
Yeah, good for him.
Yeah.
And he told me back in the day when we used to do the show there that I was about one more Mr. Lamping and I'd get cut off. Because he's that kind of guy. He's like, please, just call me Mark, whatever. Anyway, good guy. And good for him sticking around, Tony. I'm on a year-to-year basis at this point. I mean, just like 2030, that seems like a long, long way into the future. Yeah. It feels like when I was a kid looking at, I'm going to be how old in the year 2000? That's crazy. There's going to be a 2 as the first number, and it was just so far in the future. That's what 2030 feels to me.
Yeah, like you're still at that age where when your parents tell you that that's their parents, like your grandparents are like, no, they're not.
Right.
Like when you're still at that kind of age, the future seems infinite, and then you get to a point where it's like
25 years, man.
That's quick.
That is, whew, it flies by. All right. So anyway, today is Tuesday. So there's a Tuesday top 5 today. And we threw it out there yesterday after a little debate amongst the panel that we'd go with top 5 trade targets. There's a little bit of a deeper cut for you because we'd like you to come up with realistic names, right? We don't want you to say, well, like Dan Hickens suggested, hey, Jamar Chase, that's great. Yes, we'd all love Jamar Chase, right? But there's no way in hell you're going to get Jamar Chase.
Once upon a time when he was leading every statistical category.
That guy, yes, right. Right. So, barring the super obvious ones, it's pretty fair game if you can make a case like, hey, this guy would save a little salary cap space for the team moving on from him. That's what a lot of my guys are. There's been a lot of guys whose names have been floated about as potentially available on the trade market this offseason. Now, that doesn't mean they really are, right? Because for all we know, we have no idea, because we don't have a GM yet, how they're going to feel about Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram. But those are 2 guys you could save against the salary cap by moving on from the Jaguars' perspective. But you might be looking at it and go, well, wait a minute. Why would we trade them? We need weapons. Well, you're absolutely right. We do need weapons. So depends on what you get in return. Depends on what your free agency and draft plan is and how you feel about certain positions in the NFL draft. So, well, at times we've heard, so we always hear the crazy stuff. I saw one, who was it the other day, suggested somebody give the Jags a third-round pick for Trayvon Walker. I mean, absolutely, like, what, are you guys just writing this to stir up the Jaguar fan base? Like, what possible world do you live in that would happen? The guy may not be Aiden Hutchinson, but damn it, he's been a double-digit sack guy in consecutive years. Yeah. Super versatile, super young, ascending player. You're going to give him up for a third-round pick? What are you talking about? And they're like, well, he just hasn't quite put it all together. Well, he put it together pretty well. Certainly more than you would give. If Trayvon Walker were in this draft this year, Tony, having proven that he could pass rush at the NFL level, and if you could assign him a rookie contract on top of that, right, if you're drafting him like in the top 10, I don't see why he wouldn't be in the conversation to be the next guy after Abdul Carter. That's assuming Abdul Carter would be the consensus number one pass rusher here. Either way, you hear these things and you go, well, the team that I cover, the team I follow, would never do something like that. So maybe that's the case with some of these names that are being floated out there, right? That sometimes teams do like to get the word out, hey, this guy could be available, without putting our name on it. But at the same time, sometimes it's just idle speculation by pundits.
And sometimes it's the other side of it, right? Where it's like the Myles Garrett thing, where he wants to be available. I don't know how actually available he is, right, on the market, but he's talking like he wants to be available, but we've talked about it. I don't think the Jags have any chance to even get in that conversation.
Right, but I think that's like if you wanted to say he's your number one trade target.
I get it.
He's requested a trade.
List, and what I'm basically saying is you're not going to hear Myles Garrett's name on my list.
I agree. Not me either, right? And,
I did go for more realistic possibilities of trades they might actually be able to pull off.
I did that as well to a degree, although I've got certainly one big name of a young player on there, but I also did it at positions where they have to be able to walk in the door, and I have no doubt that guy is going to start for me. That's what I'm interested in. I'm not looking for, my top 5 depth piece linebacker additions.
All 5 of my guys, if they got traded for, would be a starter.
That's what I'm saying, right? Yeah. But there's got to be no question on it. Not that if you traded for Myles Garrett that he wouldn't start. I just don't know how it would all, I don't know what the vision would be to utilize all the other pieces that are already in place here. Obviously, Myles Garrett would be fantastic, but when you have 2 pretty good players who play that position and you only start 2 players at the edge position, then how many assets are you willing to give up? That's part of it, too. Like, it's one thing if you sit here and go, I can have Myles Garrett for a 5th-round pick, then I'll make it work. Sure. Yeah. That's never going to happen, that level of compensation. No. It might be multiple first-round picks. And so, along those lines, I don't want to spend that kind of team equity, draft capital, what have you, resources on bringing in a guy that I'm not sure how everything is going to balance out.
Yeah, when I was going through it in the mental exercise of here's my list before I get it down to 5, right, I had a name of 13 players.
Okay.
And I whittled it down to 5. And I will say the, big names that people are talking about, that kind of Myles Garrett camp, I didn't even have him on my 13 because I've thought through that and thought, no, I just don't see how that'll work from the Garrett side of it. I can understand if Jaguars fans are if he's going to make himself available, whatever it costs, I can understand that, so he winds up on your 5. He didn't wind up on even my list of 13 for a bunch of different reasons with that kind of thing. I did have Debo, which I've seen his name a lot, right, from people responding to this already last night and today. I did have Debo on that 13, but he's not on my 5.
Okay.
Right, for all the stuff that we kind of talked about yesterday when it got brought up over the weekend that he's asking for a trade. The 49ers are saying, if you can find a trade partner, good luck. It's kind of the situation that they're in right now with that whole thing. And we discussed our own feelings on how the Jaguars would fit into that kind of thing, and I don't think it fits all that well, at least not in my mind at this point in time. But I can understand people out there that doing this kind of list would have Debo very high on the 5 players that they would like to see the Jaguars trade for, but he's not going to appear on my list.
Yeah, me either. And you got to wonder, you look at San Francisco, they haven't seen a full season out of Ricky Pearsall yet. They don't know when Brandon Ayuk's going to be ready. Right. You always wonder, why is Team X making this player available, right? Do they know something that we don't know? Partially for that reason, I left off guys that play in the AFC South right now because I don't think there's too many viable trades that are going to get done in the division. Shaq Mason might have been an interesting guy.
I left off the AFC South in Tampa.
I did the same thing. I was like, Jamel Dean, no.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen, right? I'm not paying the Tampa tax this year, which I would presume that they would try to squeeze every penny out of you. Look, that's what you should do in trade negotiations anyway.
Sure.
Somebody on the
a little more pointed with the Bucs right now.
No question.
Yeah.
Somebody on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure said, this might sound crazy, but I would trade Josh Hines-Allen for Myles Garrett. Garrett and Walker is way more attractive than the combo we have now. So which would lead you to ask, would the Browns do that deal? Because I do think, obviously Myles Garrett's a better player, but he is a little bit older, but he's super proven, super productive. Josh Hines-Allen's been a good player. Myles Garrett has been a great player. So, you got to question, would it be enough for them to move on? Because that's a big salary cap hit you've got incoming on the other side. So is Myles Garrett a better player right now than Josh Hines-Allen? I don't think there are too many people that would argue otherwise as far as that goes. The question is, is he going to want a new deal that breaks every possible parameter? Maybe he's worth it in the short term. How long would that deal be worthwhile? At least that's what I'm looking at from my standpoint. Is he going to be happy? He wants to be traded to a contender.
Yeah.
Does he look, if he comes to Jacksonville?
To break the bank to a contender, and the team has to be okay with the trade. Right. So you have to be paying the price that the team wants on top of that.
So, right. So there's a lot that goes into it. Myles Garrett did not make my top five today. Good morning, Dylan Denmark. You're always in my top five.
Oh, yeah?
Of my 4 favorite producers of all time.
Nice.
For Jaguars Today. Top 5. You've made the top 5 of the all-time 4. What's going on in your world? I hear this big breaking story developing on the Westside.
I don't know if it's breaking news, but there is news.
Developing story.
So the SOS, the old strip club, is now dirt. It's all gone.
That's the name of the new club?
Yes. No, that was the club.
SOS was the club.
Yes.
Yeah, now it's dirt.
Now it's
renamed
dirt.
it to dirt?
Dirt.
Grime. Filth.
And I'm driving by on the way to work, and there's a group of about 10 people huddled where the club was once upon a time, and they were talking.
Were they pouring one out?
I don't know what they were doing, but I'm thinking something's going to happen there in the near future.
Oh, okay. So they looked like they weren't reminiscing.
Right, yeah. These were like engineers. These were contractors.
Hard hats? Were there hard hats seen?
No hard hats. Yeah, these were people that were negotiating with a contract. Probably.
Okay, because if it's this
we
dirt,
got a plan for this dirt.
You wouldn't need a hard hat now, would you? All right, so you're hopeful that something fun and exciting goes in there.
Possibly, yes.
All right.
Possibly. It's small enough for a little coffee shop, but if I had to guess, there might be just extra parking for that stupid that storage unit right beside it. So we'll see.
Parking for the storage unit.
Yes.
I don't know if you need 10 people out there to say, hey, we're going to pave this dirt.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how permits work. I've never had to do that. So.
I'm not privy to the ways of the Westside, Tony. So Dylan Denmark keeps us posted on all those kind of things on a daily basis. Tomorrow, Chad Ryder is going to join the program from NFL.com. Wednesday, we always like to dig into the NFL draft. We'll do another mock draft Wednesday. And Chad's got a 3-round mock out, which is always fun from a Jaguars perspective because you get an extra pick to look at and critique. And I did not like what he did with the extra pick, by the way. And just, not a big fan of that plan. But we'll get into that as we go along today as well. So, if you'd like to be a part of the program, the easiest way, look, if you've got a list of 5 mentally, or maybe just a favorite trade target, doesn't have to be 5. Not everyone's rolling deep with a list of, here's the salary cap implications of this guy. So I get it, right? It's a big ask. But if there's one player in particular that you'd like the Jags to make a play for, realistically, that you think benefits the club trading him away, would benefit this team, makes sense financially, all those different things, let us know who it is. I am heartened by the fact, Tony, that I have yet to see, although I might not have read every response, I've yet to see anyone suggest a quarterback in their top 5, which I assumed was coming at some point in time, but not yet today. So 641-1010 on the phone lines. Also, that number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hop in the YouTube virtual studio chat there as well, or on social media. You can find us at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, and at 1010XL Denmark.
Hey, I can't go to the strip club if I want to go to the strip club.
It's all dirt. No strip club, just dirt.
Nothing else, man.
It's just dirt. Okay, might get a parking lot out of it. We'll keep you posted. All right, we'll come back. Jaguars Today off and rolling on a Tuesday top 5. Who are your top 5 realistic trade targets this offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars? You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios. You know, you can listen to 1010XL on your smart speaker.
Alexa, play 1010XL.
In fact, any speaker that plays 1010XL
1010XL
is pretty smart.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Taylor Doll here. Get your mammogram on the Buddy Bus Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 2 at the showroom of Renewal by Andersen Beach in San Pablo. Reserve your spot by calling 904-202-2499. 904-202-2499.
When you're experiencing sudden, unexpected dental pain, the last thing you want to hear is that your dentist can't see you until next week. That's why I'm so glad I found Harbor Dental Care. Whenever I call, they always find a way to see me within 24 hours, and they can usually fix whatever's wrong the same day. Plus, they have locations throughout Jacksonville, so no matter what side of town I'm on, I can always count on the same great care. If you want to find a dentist who believes in treating people right, learn more at harbordental.care. That's HARBOUR dental.care.
Florida Home AC wants to make sure you're super cool when things heat up and toasty warm when the temps drop. Indoor comfort for you all year long is what they're going for. Log on to FloridaHomeAC.com to score great deals on an AC tune-up and keep the temperature perfect.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
If you'd like to try something different this year for Valentine's Day, you'll find great gift ideas from
Beard's Diamonds and Jacksonville Flower Market.
Find everything you need to know at 1010XL.com. Happy Valentine's Day from 1010XL.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Bud Light and everyone at Anheuser-Busch want to remind you to get home safely every time. People are counting on you on the road and at home. Plan ahead with safe rides and don't forget to hydrate between beers. Bud Light encourages everyone to enjoy responsibly and socialize safely.
Where on your body is the weenus? The answer next.
When you call Southern Oak and file a claim, you'll be handled by our hand-picked vendors who will analyze any roof, storm, or water damage. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
The weenus is your elbow skin and can be pinched as hard as you want, and it will never cause pain.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Hey, I'm Tony from Tony D's Pizza. People ask me all day long, is it the water that makes the difference? Well, yes and no. Even water can't make a good pizza. It's the ingredients, too. The best tomatoes, the best flour, and the best cheese. Oh, and a lot of love. Tony D's New York Pizza, Bay Meadows and 295.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Shopping for your Valentine and dreaming of seeing that smile? Then make sure you swing by Golden Diamonds Direct for a beautiful piece of jewelry made with quality and care. Joe C. for Golden Diamonds Direct in the Plantation Publix Plaza on Racetrack Road. They've been in business for over 40 years, taking care of customers the right way with great gift ideas. Golden Diamonds Direct on Racetrack Road in the Plantation Publix Plaza. Chip, Curtis, Sam, and the crew, they can take care of you so you can take care of your Valentine.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Tuesday Top 5. Who are your top 5 trade targets? Always interesting to see who reads the question of the day. Tony has got a list of potential picks at the number 5 pick. And so perhaps they're suggesting when other teams draft those guys in the top 10, we make moves for them. We're going to trade them.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to move on them is what we're going to do. But appreciate everybody who's submitting these because it does take a little bit extra time and thought and effort to do so. Let's begin the countdown for us. And again, we're looking at guys that you can trade for from a Jaguar perspective that are rumored to be available or make sense why they might be available. Yeah. You have a need here, makes sense for both sides. It's not just, hey, let's trade for Justin Jefferson, right? Because that's not going to happen.
No.
Minnesota's not going to move on. I would like that. I would like to get Justin Jefferson on this football team, but not realistic, all right? So within the realm of possibility, Dylan, set us up.
Number 5.
Here we go, Tony Smith. Who you got?
Number 5 for me is Cincinnati guard Alex Kappa. 1 year, $7 million remaining on his deal. Right guard. He is a right guard. 30 years old. Has only missed 2 games in the last 5 seasons due to injury. The Bengals could be looking for a way to be able to afford the extensions they got coming. No one knows what the end is going to be with Trey Hendrickson at this point. They certainly seem to be interested in keeping Chase and Higgins, but they're going to have to create all kinds of space in order to be able to do that kind of thing. So they might be willing to move a bunch of different pieces off the roster right now. It's not my preferred option for figuring out right guard because it is just a 1 year deal that he's got remaining on his contract if the Jaguars were to make the trade for him. But I do think it's interesting given the lack of options in free agency at guard, right? Like it's a really, really thin market. I'm not saying that you couldn't be the plan B and we're going to find a guard in the draft and that's the direction we're going to go with this. But at number 5 on my list, I have Alex Kappa among 2 or 3 guys that I was considering in that spot.
What are you willing to give up for him? Because he's only got 1 year left on the deal, right? Because I looked at him. Yeah,
like nothing more than that. And that's kind of where all my guys are except one. It's kind of that kind of range. I'm not looking to spend a whole lot more than that.
If it's like that, okay. I think that is reasonable. But like that is why I didn't include him in my top 5 because he only has 1 year of team control left out there. You're not going to franchise this guy's like 30 years old. I don't know how good he really is, to be honest with you. He is one of the, I guess, better ones who could be available. And it shouldn't cost all that much.
And it was in the same, I was kind of, the 5th spot kind of became if I was going to trade for a guard, who would it be?
Okay.
Was kind of the spot that I was looking at it at. So I was thinking about, I think it was him and Ed Ingram in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Like it was that level of player where Ingram got benched this year in Minnesota. So I was thinking about that kind of thing because they might be available. And I do think it is one of those things with all 5 of the guys basically on my list. I didn't have a bunch of them that had a lot of contract left, right? And that's because guys with a lot of contract left generally aren't going to be available.
Right. But I wanted to generally feel like I had 2 years of team control.
I get it.
If I was acquiring them. Or at least they were in a range where, okay, they're young enough that I feel good enough about this guy that I'm going to want to give him the extension that he's going to command.
Yeah, 1 or 2 guys on my list that are more like that. Like, I'd have to figure out what the extension was going to look like potentially for him.
I considered Kappa. You could, if I was doing like a top 10, I might just put interior offensive lineman.
Yeah.
And not have a name attached to it, right? Because, again, it's tough. Like, some of these guys, I don't know how good he is or not, and some of these other guards that I saw could be available. Shaq Mason's a name that we know, but again, he plays for Houston. Not going to make a deal with the Texans likely. So
I think Ryan Bates was the other name that I thought about.
I ended up with nobody on the interior offensive line. Dylan, who you got at 5?
Number 5, I got Deebo Samuel, the chess piece from San Francisco. PFF yesterday had Jacksonville giving up their first-round pick, trading it with San Francisco's at 11, I think it is, for Deebo. I'm not willing to give up a first-round pick for that. I would probably go earliest 3rd. I mean, he's a receiver, but I feel like he's more impactful now at running back. He's not a receiver that's going to, break open with a deep threat. He only had two 100-yard games last year. I think his better days are behind him, and he's had injury issues the last couple of years, but he still has some left in the tank if he wants to keep playing. I just think Deebo, I throw him in at 5. I'd probably go earliest 3rd-round pick if I wanted to trade for him.
Yeah, that in a way I'm dropping down to 11 for Deebo Samuel. Right? If you looked at what the chart would tell you, what would the chart give you for that move? At minimum, like a 2nd rounder, at minimum, probably more than that to move out of the top 10. So that would be the value that I'd have to assign Deebo. I hear what you're saying. I don't know how impactful he is as a runner anymore. He carries it 2-3 times a game. And, I don't know.
He was noisy in San Francisco last year, which may be the big explanation for why they're willing to say, yeah, sure, if you can find a trade partner, good luck. Right?
42 rushing attempts this year with 1 touchdown. The previous few years, he scored 16 rushing touchdowns in the 3 years combined before that. But I don't know. I got enough guys who can run the ball, for Deebo to have 2 carries a week and 2 catches a week, which feels like where he's headed right now. He had 51 last year in 15 games, so just over 3 catches a game.
Mm-hmm.
And they had so many guys. Ricky Pearsall got shot and missed the first, month and a half. Ayuk tears his ACL very early. There were targets to be had there, and they weren't going to Deebo. So I'm not a huge fan, but that's all right. Many are, and I don't think it's unreasonable at the right price to consider him. But even a 3rd for me feels like more than I'm willing to pay right now. The guy I had at number 5 is Garrett Wilson with the Jets. Mm-hmm. And the reason he's not higher on this list is because pretty soon you're going to have to pay him big money, right? I mean, that's the thing with him is that he's affordable right now. Jets may be looking to hit the reset button, Tone. I saw Gus Logue, who works here at 1010XL, as well as Big Cat Country. He had responded to our question, and he said that make this deal, Jets take a quarterback at 5. Well, I'm certainly not giving the 5th pick in the draft for Garrett Wilson. He is established, but the value of the 5th pick isn't just that you're getting a really good player, which obviously I think Garrett Wilson is a really good player. It's that you're getting them on a rookie contract on top of that.
Yeah.
And Garrett Wilson's a lot closer right now to breaking the bank. He is this year going to make $1.1 million in the 4th year of his rookie deal, and then you could pick up the 5th-year option. Okay, so even if you played that out, that's reasonable, but I'm not giving up a first-round pick for 2 years of control. He's going to want one of those contracts that puts him north of $30 million, right, in the elite tier. And around that time that this rookie deal is running out, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be eligible for his extension as well. And for that reason, I thought, I don't know how likely it is that I could carry these 2 guys deep into the future together, both making that kind of money that Brian Thomas Jr. is going to command sooner rather than later. Otherwise, he'd be higher on my list. Young guy, proven player.
Yeah.
Probably wants out, wants a fresh start, still economically viable on your salary cap right now.
Yeah, I think it's complicated with him because he is going to want the big money sooner rather than later.
Mm-hmm.
If that had already been done and you were dealing with the last couple of years of whatever that big money deal was, and you were thinking about trading for him, it's like, all right, that's when we move off Christian Kirk, and that's where we find the money to be able to fit that in for a year or two while Brian Thomas Jr. is still on the rookie deal, right? Like, then it would make all kinds of sense to me if he was willing to do it for a couple of years here in Jacksonville. All the questions with it is why he's not in my 5, but certainly was a player that I was thinking about.
Right. Like, my fear with a guy like that is like, okay, I'll come to you, and I need a new contract right now.
That's where it feels like he's at in his career.
Right. So that's why he wasn't higher. The talent is obvious to me.
Yeah.
You know, I wish the Jets were like middle of the first round, because then I could see, okay, you give me Garrett Wilson and let's say the 17th pick in the first round, we'll give you the 5th pick and a 3rd rounder.
Yeah.
Like, we'll still stay in the first round. And so you're getting a 3rd rounder plus the difference between 5 and 17, because we got to pay this guy. Right. And that's a big factor in it as well. I mean, could part of it be, all right, the Jets move up from 5 to 7 in the deal? Yes. But then what is the compensation they'd want in addition to that? Because that 2-spot move, Garrett Wilson to me is worth considerably more than that at his age and his productivity. All right, so just getting underway. If you want to submit your list, you know the ways to do it. Looking for your Tuesday top 5 trade targets for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2025 offseason. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Hopefully you're celebrating the new year with Awaken 180, because if you started right at the beginning of the year, you probably dropped a bunch of weight already. You're going to lose an average of 4 to 5 pounds a week after that initial week, where you probably maybe even lose up to double that and get yourself off to a great start. Awaken 180, I'm confident to tell you, is going to work for you, because they have a proven system that they perfected over 10 years where everyone drops the weight if they follow the program, and the great thing is you can maintain that weight loss with free coaching and support for life. No lose weight, quick gadgets, fad diets, medications, no injections, none of that necessary. Awaken 180 is going to teach you what to eat, when to eat, how often to eat it, and it's going to turn your body into a fat-burning machine. You're going to watch the pounds absolutely melt off, and you're going to feel better about yourself. You're going to look better. And who doesn't want to drop some unnecessary pounds? Awaken 180. Schedule your free consultation online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. 1010XL takes you inside the program director's office with Dan and Jeff.
You're fired. You can't fire me. I quit.
The Drill.
You can't quit. I fired you.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Oh, come on, guys. We're all friends here.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Ackerman Urology is now servicing the World Golf Village area. If you have elevated PSA, prostate, bladder, or kidney issues, plan to see the experts at Ackerman Urology right away. Their new location off I-95 at International Golf Parkway.
Bet live with Hard Rock Bet. Real-time wagering till the very last play. Missing the kickoff doesn't mean all bets are off.
Delay a game on the guy who hasn't bet yet.
Sometimes you just know your team is going to come back. The sportsbook for every kind of player. Hard Rock Bet. Roll with us. Get up to $100 back if your first bet doesn't win. Payable and bonus bet up to $100, not a cash offer. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Your new roof from Universal Roof and Contracting can help save a life. Percentage of every new roof this month will go to St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. St. Jude's is leading the way. The world understands, treats, and defeats childhood cancer and other life-threatening diseases. Call 855-ROOF-HELP or visit universalroof.com to schedule your free roof inspection. This promotion ends February 28th. Universal Roof and Contracting, protecting your home, building your trust. License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
Is your office productivity running at full speed? Advanced Business Solutions has the solution with Xerox copiers. Whether you need high-volume printing, scanning, or secure document management, Xerox copiers deliver efficiency, quality, and innovation. With features like cloud integration and mobile printing, Xerox is perfect for any modern office. Let ABS help you streamline your workflow. Veteran-owned, Advanced Business Solutions.
Advanced Business Solutions.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
As soon as possible.
at 641-1010.
Roses are red, violets are blue. A broken pipe? That's no way to woo. This Valentine's Day, don't let plumbing or HVAC problems ruin the romance. 904-862-6769 or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Attention golfers, Hidden Hills Golf Club is an attractive destination for golfers all over the Southeast. You too will enjoy our classic Arnold Palmer design that will test your game and keep you coming back. Book a tee time at hiddenhillsgc.com.
Hey gang, Prosser here. We've talked about some of the struggles that you may come across when it comes time to sell your home. We've told you how great Chad and Sandy are at chadandsandy.com. But, you know, they're also great when things are going good and the economy is showing positive signs. Now may be the time to sell your home at the price you want. It's easy to find out. Get friendly expert help from the Jacksonville agents who eat and sleep local real estate. Call my agents, Chad and Sandy Newman. So maybe you want guaranteed no-hassle home sale but don't want to give up hard-earned equity to do it. Chad and Sandy can do that. Maybe you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Well, let's take care of that right now because here's the Chad and Sandy guarantee. Your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Jonathan in Mount Pleasant said, the only thing standing between me and my dream of traveling in my RV was the sale of my Mount Pleasant home. I heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called. Crazy results in just 3 days. Multiple offers, full asking price. You can get it too. Call today or go to chadandsandy.com.
Cannonball!
Honey, someone's in our pool.
Oh, refreshing.
John, what are you doing?
Oh, hey, Dave. Seeing as how me and the guys at Clearwater Irrigation reinstalled your sprinklers after the pool contractor ripped it out, I thought you wouldn't mind if I took a quick dip.
But in a Jaguar print Speedo?
Yeah, Dave. My bad.
Clearwater Irrigation. We can't sing a lick, but we sure are good at sprinklers.
And drainage, too.
Give a unique gift this Valentine's Day to that special person in your life with a custom-made candle or body care product from Wick, a candle bar. Locations in San Marco and Jacks Beach.
You'll always feel good when you send someone a Kuhn Flowers floral or plant arrangement. This is Max Fink with 1010XL, and no matter what the reason, Kuhn Flowers has always come through for me. Order online at kuhnflowers.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now more Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
This could be appropriate for Chad Ryder's second, third-round pick for the Jaguars. Right there, Tony. He'll join us tomorrow to talk a little NFL draft now that we're post-Super Bowl 59. Jags in Super Bowl 60. Lock it in. That's not an official prediction. But he did put out a 3-round mock yesterday. First one post-Super Bowl. Just to quickly run through the highlights and the Jaguars selections here. Has Cam Ward. Do you feel like Cam Ward has become the consensus might be too strong a word, but I
think he's generally the player looked at more highly at quarterback.
In the mocks, at least, right? And maybe in the rankings as well. Yeah. But so we'll see. But Cam Ward going to the Tennessee Titans, Travis Hunter to the Browns, Shedeur Sanders to the Giants, and then Abdul Carter to the Patriots. Very plausible that those will be the first 4 in some order off the board. So Chad Ryder went with Will Johnson, the Michigan corner. Here, not after my trades are done. Johnson, he wrote, suffered a lower body injury this year at Michigan, sidelined him for the second half of the year. Any team taking him this high will need to be comfortable with his medicals. If healthy and able to prove he possesses the long speed to keep pace with NFL receivers, he has the height, length, and ball skills to remind everyone why he was a blue-chip prospect entering the 2024 campaign. He's actually got Ashton Genty going 6th. To the Las Vegas Raiders. I mean, Ashton Genty would be a fun pick for about a minute, and I'd be like, Oh, man.
That's a bold pick
Boy,
at 6.
You know, you better be rolling out 1,800 yards, Rook. Mason Graham to the Jets at 7. How about this Walter Nolan? I had him last week in my mock as the 30th pick to the Jaguars, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss, and he's got him going 8th to Carolina. It's got Tyler Warren, the Penn State tight end, in the top 10, and then Will Campbell rounding out the top 10. Tet McMillan, by the way, falling to 12 in this. Jahdae Barron, who you often see mocked around the range for the Jags' second-round pick, going 14th overall. He's the one who won the Thorpe Award as the nation's top defensive back this year. Just scrolling through this first round, seeing if anybody else really stands out. Anyway, did he have another running back in the first round? Yeah, Quinshon Judkins out of Ohio State going 21st to Pittsburgh. Such a deep draft at running back. You know, it's like, I think the Jags should be interested in adding somebody to the backfield. At what price, I think, is the question. All right, so going Will Johnson in the first round. And, you know, people already losing their minds, I'm sure. You got to get big guys. He had Quinn Ewers leading off round 2. I didn't notice if he had Jackson Dart in the first round. Wouldn't surprise me. Gray Zabel goes 34th to the Giants. We're hearing his name a ton. Anyway, Xavier Watts, the Notre Dame safety, mocked to the Jags at 36. I've seen that a bunch, too, right? And, again, after I'm done trading, you're not going to need as much help in the secondary, I feel like, right now. Tone, he's then in the third round. Obviously, the Jags have a couple of selections there with the first one. Again, this Chad Ryder over to NFL.com had him taking Mason Taylor, the LSU tight end.
Go Tigers.
And look, you know, Evan Ingram is going into the last year of his deal. I'm not definitively trying to move off Evan Ingram here. I mean, there is a world where they do and recoup some cap space, but they're also not in a terrible cap position. It's not like they're up against it and they have to clear cap space. It's a question of, do they want to make a big swing or two? And I know Shad Khan said last year, Tony, that we need to be more of a draft and develop team. I'm paraphrasing here, but again, that was different regime, new GM coming in, going to influence things. And I mean, really, who's going to determine this, right? I mean, everyone answers to Shad Khan. I would presume that the GM is the one going out there making the moves, but in conjunction with Liam Cohen, he's got to have, I would think at this point, at least an equal say in, you know, what target list they put together in free agency.
Yeah, they got to figure that out here in the next couple weeks. They got to have a GM by the time the combine comes around, or they won't have one before the draft. I don't think that's going to be an issue.
No, you know, might have one by the end of the week. As we mentioned
earlier, like we don't know where they're at with that right now. They haven't announced any of the interviews as far as when they're happening with the candidates that they may want to have. I assume they've talked to all the guys that they've mentioned that they want to talk to some degree, right, at this point, but we don't know what second interviews, any of that process looks like at this point, at least.
So the last pick here for Chad Ryder, Tone, in this 3-round mock for the Jags, pick 88, Trevor Etienne.
Oh!
Out of Georgia.
I got him in the 7th.
Did you?
Yeah.
You already did this week's mock?
Like last week's, I had him in the 7th.
Oh, my gosh, man. I mean, look, I feel like this is too cute by half. You know, oh, look, the Etienne brothers are together. Okay, that's wonderful. And if the Jags want to spend like a 6th-round pick on him, I'm all for it. In a draft that's supposedly as deep as this is at running back, I don't think Trevor Etienne is worth a 3rd-round pick when you can probably get comparable guys multiple rounds later. Maybe I'll be wrong, and he'll go off the board in round number 3. But then what happens, Tony, at the end of Travis Etienne's 5th-year option? Is it brother versus brother? Did you draft a brother to play? You know what I mean? It just gets a little awkward, man. I don't know. I'm not saying that that's a reason why I absolutely wouldn't draft him. I just think 88th overall is too rich for my blood.
Yeah, me too.
By the way, no offensive lineman, no defensive lineman in those first 4 selections. So we're not addressing the lines of scrimmage in the first 3 rounds. I don't see that happening either. But, again, it's one man's opinion. All right, let's pick up where we left off. In the countdown of our top 5 trade targets for the Jacksonville Jaguars this offseason. Dylan.
Number 4.
Who you got?
Jair Alexander, DB out of Green Bay. Still got 2 years left on his contract. Has had some injury issues the last 2 years. It says the move between Green Bay and him is inevitable. It's going to happen soon. The only thing is, how much are we willing to give up if we do trade for him? Because it seems like Green Bay is going to want a lot since they paid a lot for him. I just don't know if I'm willing to give up a first-round pick for Jair Alexander. Maybe a second. But I would think he'd probably have to give up at least 2 or 3 picks and then maybe a player, because Green Bay is going to want a corner in exchange. So I don't know what corner you would want to give up.
I don't know if they would, though. I don't know if you take back that position just to take back that position. You know what I mean? Because it would make no sense. Like, you're not going to trade Tyson Campbell for Jair Alexander, and you're not going to trade Jarian Jones on a cost-controlled deal when he showed you he could play as a rookie. So what corner would be that attractive to him? I don't think it's a bad trade target. Don't get me wrong.
No.
Bleacher Report, I think, projected proposed trade. The Jags sending the 88th pick, in other words, the Trevor Etienne pick, for Jair Alexander, like a late pick included in it, because that's part of the deal. When you're clearing cap space, man,
I was about to say it's the 16 and $18 million numbers that Alexander has the next 2 years. That's why Green Bay's interested in moving him.
Correct.
And that's why the team that's going to talk to him when they say, we want a first-round pick, they're going to go, no.
No.
You're not, no.
First-round pick, I'll take my chances. I'll draft my own guy, and he'll be cost-controlled, and he'll make, in his entire rookie contract what you're going to make next year. But I absolutely think he makes sense in Jacksonville as a walk-in starter.
I'll get to my opinion on him later.
I will as well.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just say that. All right, I got number 4 for me. I got LA Charger safety Derwin James. Can do a little everything. He can play in the box. He can make plays in the passing game as well. He's an excellent blitzer for that team. Just a good all-around playmaker. He's getting up there in his late 20s now, Tony, but I think he's still got some big years left. He is on the books for $13.75 million and $14.5 for the next couple of years. And look, that may sound like a lot of money. The Jags have massive holes at the safety position to me. It's not going to surprise me at all if somebody way overpays Andre Sisco, for instance, this offseason, right?
Sure.
Based on his age, and he has at times got his hands on the football, had some interceptions. We've seen him blow too many coverages here. I think Derwin James he's more of a box safety to me, but he can be a tone setter. He's an excellent guy covering tight ends as well. And they utilized him against Travis Kelce plenty of times in his career with the LA Chargers. So I've got Derwin James there. And again, when you're taking on $14 million a year on average, something like a third-round pick, it's not going to be, first of all, you can't make all 5 of these deals, right? So if you made one of them, that's probably the extent of your offseason movement. So it's not like I'm going to trade a third for this guy. I'm going to trade another third for that guy. I'll trade a couple of fourths for this guy. But in the case of Derwin James, I think he's worth taking on $14 million for what he provides you.
For me, at number 4, I have Cincinnati safety Geno Stone. He's got 1 year, $6 million left on his contract. He's had 11 interceptions over the last 2 seasons in Baltimore and with the Bengals, and they played him all over the place. Like, they've played him as both a free and a strong safety. So he's got a lot of positional flexibility. Again, it's the 1 year remaining on it,
right,
which is the question mark with it. But at just $6 million, if he's the Band-Aid for a year at the safety position while you get to whatever you want to do.
What do you give him for that?
6th, 7th round pick. Like virtually nothing. And that's pretty much where I am. The next 2 of the next 3 guys that I have on my list are going to be a little bit more than that. But the 4 and 5 on my list are going to be that kind of range. 6th, 7th round pick to basically be a Band-Aid at a position that I feel like they got to find some kind of answer short term at some of these spots. But Geno Stone's an interesting one with the production he's had the last couple of years.
I can hear people saying, we got to hit on those picks, all right? They're really inexpensive. Well, look, this is a hit. If you can get a guy who gives you 1 year starting caliber play, and maybe you extend him at the end of it, because generally speaking, 6 and 7 round picks don't amount to much in the National Football League. They're fun to have options, the old dart throws, as people like to refer to them.
Right.
But that's why they're referred to as those things.
This is the dart.
Right. Here's the guy. At least you know where that dart's going to land with Geno Stone. It may not be triple 20, but it may be double 17. I don't know. It depends on what you need at that particular point in time. But I don't hate that at all. Again, I stayed away from guys with only 1 year left on their deal, so our lists are going to look a little bit different. Sure. But inexpensive backline help. And look, how about this? instead of worrying about hitting on a 6th and 7th round pick, how about worrying about hitting on that 1st round pick, that 2nd, those 2/3, those 2/4 that you have? You got plenty of draft capital right now, and the potential is there to maybe add more depending on how the quarterbacks fall in the first 4 selections of the draft. Even if one of them is available with the 4th pick, again, I think that is an opportunity for New England to trade back and somebody to jump up ahead of you. But anyway, Geno Stone for Tony Smith. I had Derwin James and Dylan Head, Jair Alexander, all taking a look at the secondary. We'll continue along this morning, the Tuesday Top 5, looking at potential trade targets for the Jacksonville Jaguars. When we come back, though, Tony will take us around the rest of the National Football League now that the 2024 season has finally been put to bed, I guess all except for the Philadelphia Eagles parade coming up on Friday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios. There are 4 seasons: winter, spring, summer, and Jags football.
To the 5, into the end zone, touchdown!
Jaguar football lives here. 1010XL, home of the Jaguars.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scotty Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
The housing market is as busy as ever on the First Coast. And if you've moved in or moved on, make sure you have a team of trained electricians ready to help. American Electrical can make sure you're up to date electrically and maximize your living experience. Smart home automation services, home theater systems, outdoor and dock lighting, and backup generators. American Electrical can do it all. A team you can trust with highly trained technicians ensuring you have the best living experience. American-Electrical.com, a leader on the First Coast and powered by professionalism.
The best teal-colored coverage includes Mia's Quick Hits.
Get the latest news from inside the building and around the league. I'm Mia O'Brien, 1010XL's NFL Insider.
Driven by Arlington Toyota. Available on the video and social channels of 1010XL.
Prosser here, still telling you about Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Lifetime Enclosures is keeping the sale going into February. Enclosures starting at only $89 a month, and if you get a complete enclosure done, you get free flooring. If you just need flooring, Lifetime Flooring is running a buy one room, get the second room free. Now offering floor coating for that garage or patio deck too. Give them a call or visit their showrooms just off Phillips Highway. Proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
If you're listening to 1010 and you're a parent, chances are your kids are playing sports. Well, check out i9sports.com with spring and summer registration open right now, including all new girls volleyball at Duval Charter Bay Meadows. i9sports.com, enter 1010 for a discount.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal, what's the matter?
I don't know about this air conditioner, Jason.
You know, my job is actually to...
I mean, 1 minute it's working, and the next minute it's not working. And every time I leave the house, I don't know if I'm coming back to a nice, cool oasis or a steaming cesspool of sweaty garbage fumes and dog farts, and then I'll never get to sleep. And I'll be too late to call someone. And what if I've got a big meeting the next morning and I haven't slept a wink?
Okay, dude. Stay cool. Or at least stay cooler.
But
Bueller Air and Plumbing can figure out why your AC only works sometimes and not all the time. We fix that kind of stuff every day.
You mean you can...
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all your time worrying about an air conditioner that can totally be fixed, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Need cash? Beaches Jewelry and Pawn has cash, and they're ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. And gold market prices are at a record high. Get cash on the spot at Beaches Jewelry and Pawn in Jacks Beach.
Pickett here with my concierge doctor, Richard Townsend. Doc T, how does a concierge direct primary care operate?
We are a membership-based primary care made directly between a patient and physician. We'll have a limited amount of patients that allows us to give unlimited access and personal service to you. This individualized approach has been shown to lower hospitalizations as well as maintain healthier lives. We also give 24/7 access via phone to me outside of our scheduled office hours.
To learn more, go to mypvconcierge.com.
SportsForecaster.com has all the data you need to project tomorrow's winners. Register for free and track the performance of all your favorite players and teams, including all your fantasy team picks and prospects. Sports Forecaster has the most detailed player profiles on the web, precise depth charts, every transaction, every injury, every news update. No ranting or raving, no preening or barstool bluster. At SportsForecaster.com, you get the timely info you need for every game. SportsForecaster.com. Sign up for free today.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. No matter the weather, Triumph has an unbelievable selection of rides where you can get out and just enjoy the highway.
They do. The new Rocket is out, the new color schemes, the Tiger 1200, which has been revamped. These bikes are nice, gorgeous, and ready to ride.
And if you want to take a look at the selection, they can just roll into the showroom and see a full variety.
We've got them all in stock and ready to go.
So if you log on, cyclesofjacksonville.com, search the Triumph line, and then head into showroom. You'll be impressed. Cycles of Jacksonville.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Local Sports Update, brought to you by Baker Glass. The Gators are faced with another top-ranked matchup on the road as they travel to Starkville to take on the Mississippi State Bulldogs tonight. Playing on the road has been proven to be tricky all around, and head coach Todd Golden just wants to see consistent play from his team.
It's going to take a very similar performance to what we had on Saturday to win in Starkville on Tuesday. And I think that's hard for people to wrap their arms around. Like, Mississippi State's a very good team. Mississippi State's very good at home. Obviously, to your point, a top 25 team. This will not be an easier game. Like, they're going to be playing very well. They're going to be fired up. And, we have a target on our back. Our guys, I think, are learning that, especially after Saturday. Again, we're going to have to perform really, really, really well on the road on Tuesday night to win.
Gators and Mississippi State Bulldogs tonight at 7 o'clock. Catch all the action live on 1010 a.m. It's 71 degrees at 10:56. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
I did not see the original post, Tony, but I saw the world headquarters tweeted out a graphic within the hour that, according to NFL Network, the Jaguars' top 5 offseason needs are. Have you seen the story of the graphic? All right. What do you think NFL Network thinks the top 5 offseason needs are for the Jags? Or how do you see them? And let's see how they match up with NFL Network's.
Guard.
Interior offensive line.
Okay.
Check.
Safety.
Safety, I think is the biggest need, but whatever. We can debate the order of them, but definitely safety.
Corner,
absolutely. They got that. I think they're listing them in order. So corners at the top for them. Interior O-line and safety are 4 and 5.
Okay. What would they have now? Interior defensive line.
No. Okay. They don't have defensive line on here at all. We'll call it a wrap there because there are not many other options.
No.
They had wide receiver on there, and I I can get it, especially if you think Christian Kirk maybe going into at best his last year with the Jags, something like that.
Sure.
They need a running mate for Brian Thomas Jr. And just in general, Gabe Davis was a disappointment. I don't think that's terrible. Backup quarterback.
Oh, come on.
Made the top 5. Like, yes, there's not technically one on the roster right now, but so there is a need that you're going to have to fill that spot, but I don't think it's a pressing. Do you think C.J. Beathard wouldn't come back if they said, hey, C.J., do you want to come back for $1 more than you made last year?
Right. If he was the backup next year, okay.
The odds are if Trevor Lawrence misses an extended period of time, the Jags are going to be in trouble this year. It's just the way it is. You don't often have that. Would you be interested at the right price, obviously, in Jameis Winston as the backup quarterback for the Jaguars?
I wouldn't be uninterested.
Yeah, me either, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like he's just a guy you can throw in there and get crazy with a little bit. He's such a turnover machine. I don't know where
he's at with how he feels where he is in his career.
Right. Well, I'm sure he'd like an opportunity to start or compete for a job, but how many of those
I don't know if that'll be open or not.
Right. Exactly. Look, if I'm the Jets, I'd be knocking on that door. I saw a report that right now the early favorite to open as the starter for the Jets is Tyrod Taylor. Well, that's by default, right? Because you got Jordan Travis there, and who knows if he'll ever develop into an NFL caliber player, and you don't know who they're going to go after.
No.
At the moment. They're going to go after somebody. Anyway, don't want to get too far off the beaten path. Just was curious if that aligned with your thinking right there. I think for the most part, it's true. They do need a backup quarterback. But it does, when you come to the numbers game at defensive tackle, and if Eric Armstead is moving inside, I know they need to be better at defensive tackle, but how much do they need to find a starter, right? And is Mason Graham that guy that you would plug in next to Eric Armstead with Mason Smith, your long-term plan to replace Armstead? What happens to Devon Hamilton, who you're paying a bunch of money to? Again, I'm not saying it was good enough last year. What happens is he would go to the bench in this scenario. So it's not outrageous to take Mason Graham there. I don't think it's as easy as, boom, got to get better on the lines of scrimmage, because you got to make all the pieces fit together as well. Anyway, that's out there. You can check that out at 1010XL on the Twitter feed. Dylan, why don't we fire it up for Tony to go around the league?
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Philadelphia's victory parade will be on Friday. So while you're celebrating Valentine's Day this year, the Eagles will be celebrating a Super Bowl championship with a parade in the city of brotherly love. San Francisco team owner Jed York told the AP that the team will be looking to sign quarterback Brock Purdy to a contract extension this offseason, telling the AP, quote, "I know we want Brock to be here for a long time, and we will do everything we can to make that work," end quote. Mike Silver of The Athletic reported on Monday that the New Orleans Saints are expected to have strong interest in hiring former Los Angeles Chargers head coach Brandon Staley as their new defensive coordinator. The Saints will not have officially hired Kellen Moore, as the time that I'm reading this, to be their next head coach, so they still have a lot of requirements that they'll have to meet for interviewing minority candidates for that DC position. They're in New Orleans before hiring Staley. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler has already reported that the Saints also have expressed interest in Tampa Bay outside linebackers coach George Edwards for that DC job there with the Saints.
All right. Thank you very much, Tony Smith. That's your look around the National Football League right now. We're counting down today our top 5 trade targets, our favorite trade targets for the Jaguars, hopefully realistic ones. And chances are they won't make a move for any of these guys. That's just the nature kind of the way the offseason goes. But, Dylan, why don't we pick up the countdown?
Number 3.
All right, number 3 for me, Tony, you mentioned the world champion Philadelphia Eagles. Mm-hmm. And at first, when I saw this name being mentioned as a trade target, I'm like, why would they give up on this guy so soon? Jordan Davis, the defensive tackle for the Eagles out of Georgia, it was a first-round pick just 3 years ago, right? And you see how much that front four dominated, but then you look into it a little bit deeper, and you realize he only played 37% of the snaps for that team this year. He's very affordable. He's going to make $3 million this year, and then you could pick up the fifth-year option and have him for next year if you're looking for that space eater type. And Milton Williams, who had a sack of Mahomes in the Super Bowl, is a free agent, and a lot of people think that they might want to just say, hey, you know what? Let's get what we can for Davis here, and let's invest our money in Milton Williams and kind of keep the clock moving backwards and getting a little bit younger as we go. Jordan Davis is still a very young guy, fills a need for the Jags, and doesn't require you to spend the 5th pick in the draft. Now, the Jaguar organization, coaching staff, scouting, would have to be comfortable with the film of Jordan Davis. And there's probably a reason why he's only playing 37% of the snaps. But part of that reason probably is because Philly is filthy deep on the defensive line. So I think he's, for me, combination of positional fit as a pure nose, affordability, $3 million this year, 5th-year option the following year, and potential availability at least make him an attractive piece to look into for me.
Number 3 for me is Philadelphia nose tackle Jordan Davis. Playing around 40% of the snaps for the Eagles, as you said. They have to figure out extensions potentially with Milton Williams, and Sweat is a free agent on that defensive line as well. So they're going to have to figure out where they're going to be spending money.
Big money for
along
Sweat.
That front line. So Davis could be the odd man out in that kind of scenario. Trading him saves them about $3 million on their cap this year. The 5th-year option, by the way, if they do wind up going that direction, if they traded for Davis, the 5th-year option is about $11.4 million.
That's Devon Hamilton money,
right,
or a
like
little less.
That kind of thing, and that would be the time that you'd be moving on from Devon Hamilton, who, with whatever Devon Hamilton is at this point in his career, he's not the nose, right? Like, that's not where he's been an effective player for this team. He's just not effective enough in that position. So for me, Jordan Davis, number 3 on my list.
Yeah, all right. So we agree on one right there. Dylan, who you got at 3?
DK Metcalf.
Yeah,
got
baby.
1 year left on his deal, about $18 million. I think he'd be really good paired up with Brian Thomas Jr. The Seahawks say they are listening to trade talks with him. So we'll see, how much truth there is to that. But it is being floated out there that the Seahawks are shopping him.
Do you have him in your top 2?
No.
All right. So let's talk about DK, because I put him on my short list. He didn't make my top 5, right? I mean, how can you not be interested? I do think the Jags obviously could stand to upgrade at outside receiver opposite Brian Thomas Jr. DK would be a proven guy, deep threat, big-bodied red zone target. He can do a little bit of everything, phenomenal speed. So you got 2 guys that are going to really stress the defense. It's the expense, the cost. He's going to require a new contract. He's older than Garrett Wilson. That I just, to me, it was a choice. Do I want to put Wilson on this list? Do I want to put DK Metcalf on this list? And I think, when you factor in the 8, now, what you'd have to give to get him might be a little less expensive as well. Imagine if they end up trading DK for a 2nd-round pick. Remember, they got him with pick 60, something like that, right? He fell way down there. And if you could get a guy and get, what do they have out of him? 7, 8 good years, whatever it's been, and then basically flip him for close to the compensation that you invested in him, that's a hell of a deal for Seattle's standpoint. So I don't hate the idea of DK Metcalf on this football team, but you want to talk about, again, Dylan, what are you giving up to get DK?
2nd or 3rd.
All right, so 2nd or 3rd, then you're going to have to extend him.
Yeah.
All right, because you're not giving up that kind of pick for a 1-year rental, right? So now you're talking about, okay, DK Metcalf is going to want, I don't know, $28 million plus a year, maybe $30 million plus a year. I don't know. I don't know if it makes a ton of sense at his age.
Yeah.
And again, the
wide receiver contracts complicate things.
They do.
With being willing to trade for him. I don't know what they'd be willing to take on whatever kind of new deal. And the Jags they're going to figure it out with BTJ at some point.
Of course they will.
Right? So if they have to go through another year where Christian Kirk is kind of the other guy, that's the big money receiver on the roster, I think they can deal with it. And I think if you could replace him with a guy that he's going to replace Kirk for a year.
Sure.
Right? Like that kind of thing. And we're willing to pay what we'd be willing to pay Kirk for the year. But when we're going to trade for a guy and figure out how to pay him Kirk money essentially plus for the next 4.
Right.
Like that.
And then what is a 1-year rental worth to you?
Right.
And is whatever you're willing to give up worth it to Seattle? Right? Why wouldn't they say, well, let's look at it like a 1-year rental with DK if all we're getting is, let's say, a 5th or a 6th round
It's not a lack
pick.
of interest on my part. It's a very complicated situation to see it happening.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I mean, DK Metcalf would be a beast. He is a beast. When he's healthy, he is a physically imposing stud out on the football field who can do just a little bit of everything. But, just imagine. Tone, the Jags have never had two deep threats of that quality at the same time. Now, Jimmy, it's the ultimate deep threat that we've had, with apologies to BTJ, who may close the gap on him. But to have, Keenan McCardell, phenomenal player, different kind of player. He's more like, to me, the Garrett Wilson type. I think Garrett Wilson's got some quicks. He's got some speed. But to me, I think of him more as a tactician, as a route runner, breaking your ankles and getting open like that, which I think fits very well opposite Brian Thomas Jr. All right. I don't hate the DK Metcalf idea, and I could see him getting dealt. A lot of speculation about Tyler Lockett getting dealt. I don't know if Tyler Lockett's got anything
What's
left.
his market?
What would it be? Tyler Lockett might be like a conditional seventh, honestly, at this point, because there's a lot of talk in Seattle that he might just retire. He may just be done, that he doesn't have much left in his legs. I don't know if that's the case or not, but like Tyler Lockett, ideally now at best should be like your third receiver, maybe your fourth receiver on a good team, right? And even in Seattle, he didn't make much of an impact this year as presumably their third wide receiver with Jackson Smith and Jigba coming on. And that's another factor. They're going to probably want to invest in Jackson Smith and Jigba in the not too distant future. So can you transfer some of that DK money over to him? I don't think it's a absolute certainty that Seattle needs to move on from DK Metcalf, by the way. But I definitely think he's in the conversation of guys that could potentially be available. All right, we'll continue the countdown as we get through hour number 2 here on Jaguars Today, as we'll get to our top 2 trade targets that we see for the Jaguars out there. And we'll get through some of your responses as well. A lot of Cooper Kupp love out there, Tone. I'm just wondering and I get it, the Liam Cohen connection to Sean McVay and that whole 9 yards, but he's going to play the slot if he comes here, right? So then is he an upgrade at this stage of his career, and by how much over Christian Kirk, and how much are you willing to pay for that in compensation and salary, and all these things factor in. Somebody on the text line earlier said, this is why the Jags are never going to win the championship, because you have to be willing to buy a Super Bowl. I think they've been very willing to buy a Super Bowl. They've gone out and spent like drunken sailors in free agency for years and years and years.
Well, and by the way, with all the criticism that fans heap on Shad Khan, Shad would not be the one saying, don't spend that money on X. He'd be going, you need what to get who? Go. Like, that's my impression of Shad. It's the football people say, I don't know if we should be doing this.
Right. I didn't watch it yet, but I saw on, what was it done? Duval Rundown with Gus Logue and Hayes Carline. They're talking about the top 5 beneficiaries of Liam Cohen coming to Jacksonville. Did you watch it? Because to me, Trevor got to be one, right? And then it's like mostly offensive guys, but Shad Khan's got to be one, doesn't he? Just in terms of the public perception, right? Like, not that he needs it. He owns the team. It's his. You can't do anything about that, right? But now he could puff out his chest a little bit more and feel like the fan base has turned the tide and gotten behind him a little bit.
At least gotten quiet temporarily.
Right. Well, in conjunction with finally moving on from Trent Baalke, but Liam Cohen kind of maybe forcing Shad's hand, however you want to look at it. He makes that move. And then from that point on, I saw a lot of, wow, we're actually operating like a real NFL franchise this offseason. So his stock has certainly risen with the acquisition of Liam Cohen. Now, all that's great until we actually get some football games.
See what happens.
Yeah, right. If Liam Cohen goes 1-7 out of the gates, nobody's benefiting from that circumstance. And I don't even want to contemplate that misery at this point in time. All right, we'll come back with numbers 2 and 1 in the countdown, the Tuesday top 5. Who are your top 5 trade targets, realistic trade targets for the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2025 offseason? This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Pella Windows and Doors. Rave about these guys. Love Pella. Consumer Reports told me to give them a try, and I did. I went over to their showroom on Phillips Highway, and I was blown away. Their professional design consultants helped me with my entire project, which was basically replace all the windows in my house, including the sliding glass door. Everything looks better. The resale value is up. The energy efficiency is through the roof. Pella Windows and Doors, online at PellaJacks.com. When you're ready to upgrade your home, check them out on Phillips Highway. That's Pella Windows and Doors.
It started with a dream.
I wanted to be a senator.
I wanted to be a florist. International house pancake.
And it turned into The Franchi Show.
Are we ready? Yes. Good.
Afternoons on 1010XL.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL.
Picking here for Bound 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bound 9. Visit Bound 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bound 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
If your IT, data security, and your office copiers are operating perfectly, you must have hired ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, as your technology partner.
Advanced Business Solutions.
Roses are red, violets are blue. A broken pipe? That's no way to woo. This Valentine's Day, don't let plumbing or HVAC problems ruin the romance. Whether it's a leaky faucet, a backed-up septic tank, or a heater that's colder than your ex's heart, Duck Rooter is here to save the day. Our expert team will fix it fast and at a fair price, so you can get back to the love you deserve. When you're stuck, call the Duck, 904-862-6769, or online at duckduckrooter.com.
Put your best foot forward and score 60 minutes of soccer insight on the Sporting Jack Soccer Hour. Join Cole Pepper, Mauricio Ruiz, and Becky Burley for Soccer Talk.
Tuesday nights at 6
on 1010 a.m.
Hammond, Valentine's Day is coming up. Got any romantic plans?
Dad, I'm married to Clean Air. My plan is to help Jacksonville families breathe easier.
You're helpless, but Clean Air does sound nice. Can duct cleaning really help?
Absolutely. Dust, allergens, even odors can build up in your ducts. Cleaning them now makes your air fresher and healthier for your family. The EPA says better indoor air quality can reduce health risk.
So cleaning ducts are like Valentine's Day gift for the house.
Exactly. Forget chocolates. Fresh air lasts longer and doesn't melt. Plus, we've got a February special, $100 off your total.
All right, sign me up. Maybe fresh air will make Mom fall in love with me again all over.
You'll have to take her to dinner for that, but cleaner air will definitely help.
Fair enough. Jacksonville, if you're ready to show your home some love, Google Zerorez and read over 7,000 five-star reviews. Zerorez.
Spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
Cerorez. Zerorez.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Millard Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Millard Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Millard Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Millard Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Take your taste buds to One Night Taco Stand for Taco Tuesday. Get $2.99 tacos and $6.99 specialty drinks. The 1010XL restaurant of the day is One Night Taco Stand, Mandarin, Orange Park, and Southside at Bay Meadows.
Skilled trade jobs are booming, so begin your high-pay, high-demand career today through the Northeast Florida Builders Association. Their apprenticeship program provides paid training in some of the most highly sought-after skilled trades. Get paid while you train, full-time, in carpentry, electrical, HVAC, or plumbing. Plus, earn a 10% raise every year, and the classes are 100% tuition-free. Start your new career today and apply this week at nefpaapprenticeship.org.
Don't miss the Players Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash. There are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about the fence, superiorfenceandrail.com.
Tired of seeing the signs of aging in the mirror? Fine lines, sun damage, redness? They don't have to be part of your future. I'm Dr. Mark Capel, a board-certified dermatologist, and I can help you look and feel your best without invasive surgery or painful treatments. Imagine rejuvenating your skin in a relaxing, comfortable environment with minimal to no downtime. Smooth out fine lines, even skin tone, and restore that youthful glow. Find out how to look and feel your best at Dermagnify.com. Dermagnify.com.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Hey, yeah, I want to shoot, baby, shoot.
Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, from the desk of Ian Rappaport on the X platform, Tony, the Jaguars interview process kicks into gear this week, obviously for the GM. And that includes speaking with Bills Director of Player Personnel, Terrence Gray, the middle of the week. There are roughly 10 or so candidates, plus at least one, potentially more internal candidates. Okay, Ethan Waugh. We got more internal candidates than that, potentially?
Does Tony Khan want an interview?
I don't know. I think he could get one if he did want one. That's a good call. Maybe. I mean, who would be the candidate to be the general manager that's been hiding in the front office for the Jacksonville Jaguars? So I'd be, again, I just want a fresh start all the way across the board.
Brett Talkey wants an interview.
Hey, everybody. No, Tony, how dare you? How dare you traumatize the listening audience like that? So anyway, things are moving behind the scenes for the Jags, and probably sooner rather, I'm guessing by the middle of next week at the latest, we'll know who the GM is going to be for this football team. Maybe sooner. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the week. There are a lot of names, and I'm sure if you want to be as thorough as possible, you're going to go through the entire process.
Sure.
This one, before we get back to our countdown, talking about trading for veteran players out there, that are currently in situations where their team might be willing to move them. On the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures, Tone, I'm done being the place where lazy players came to get their second contracts in free agency. I'm building this team with guys fighting for their NFL career. Unless it's a prove-it one-year deal, I'm not signing any free agents. I'm bringing in dogs in the draft, and I draft and undrafted free agents. I'm also not blowing the timeline. 2-year rebuild, deep playoffs year 3, Super Bowl run in the new stadium first season. Okay, if you're a candidate for the Jags GM job, I wouldn't lead with that because there ain't no rebuild. Nobody's going to sit here and go, oh, it's the first year for Liam Cohen, and they won 4 games, but he's getting his people in place. No.
Yeah.
Your narrative, Jaguars narrative, we can win right now. No reason we can't turn this around right now. So if you don't believe it, don't blow the smoke.
Yeah.
Right? And so I don't think any Jaguar fan, maybe some obviously are, but are sitting there going, hey, a 2-year rebuild, and then we'll see what we do in the postseason year 3.
No.
Got to be a much quicker turnaround than that. Otherwise, by year 3, Liam Cohen's going to be on the hot seat already. I mean, the whole cycle begins again. Now, in addition to that, lazy players coming to get their second contracts in free agency. To me, the lazy ones are often the guys at the tail end of their career.
Yeah.
That are looking to get a year or 2 tacked onto their NFL pension. There have been plenty of guys. Like, was Evan Ingram lazy when he got here on his second contract?
No.
Was Christian Kirk lazy when he came here? Was Mitch Morse? Now, look, Gabe Davis, I'm not saying he didn't work out, but that doesn't mean he's like, I'm just going to just not try, right? I mean, look, sometimes they don't work out.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've heard anything to indicate that, I'm just pulling guys up here. Devin Duvernay didn't make a big impact with this team.
No, but you can understand the impression being that Eric Armstead is here. Why?
Okay.
Like from a fan perspective, and I'm at least sympathetic to that kind of idea of why is he here and why is he being able to say where he wants to play?
Right, but that is one guy, and it's not...
Sure. doesn't
you can't
mean
paint
that every
all of
free
them with a
agent that they
brush.
brought in is that, right? But I can understand, people see that bright color and they're like, that's the thing. That's the entire problem is that. And I agree with you. I don't think it's anywhere close to that kind of thing, but they see it.
And also, I'm bringing in dogs in the draft. Who doesn't want that? That's like a a defensive coordinator hire getting up there saying, we're going to be aggressive.
Yeah.
We're going to be an attack defense.
Yeah.
They all say it. Who doesn't want dogs? Yeah. Who doesn't want people that eat, sleep, and breathe football?
The whole league, that's what they're looking for.
And yet, it's very difficult sometimes to put your finger on that and know
if you
exactly
draft
what
them,
you're
it's because
getting.
you think they're a dog. That's
Generally.
why you drafted them. And if they don't work out that way, it's not because you were thinking, you know what? I wanted kind of a guy who was a little bit entitled with what he went through. Yeah, like I just kind of that laid back thing. That's what I'm looking for.
If you want to spend a 6th-round pick on that guy who you think is super athletically talented, but you're not sure about the motivation, all right, you can roll the dice with those kind of picks.
But even at that point in the draft, you're looking for a guy that guy's got to be breathing football, living, eating, breathing football. It's like it's got to be life to him because his chances are going to be smaller.
Yeah.
That's the kind of thing that you're looking for out of these guys.
But don't you think they balance that out though with like, man, if this guy did click, if we got hold of him and the switch flipped,
absolutely,
the athletic talent could take him way above what his draft stock
But
was.
I think even when you're looking at a guy who you're trying to weigh what is the actual upside with a guy, you have to, at least part of the measurement is how much do they want this? Right?
Oh, sure.
Like that's the first box that has to be checked for any kind of interest, I would think, from an NFL team is, do they love this?
Well, I mean, we drafted C.J. Henderson, and it certainly didn't appear like he loved any of it.
Massive error.
Right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but do I think they went into it thinking, oh, C.J. Henderson's just not really
You
going to
convince
care.
yourself on the physical stuff, and it's like, we'll figure out what all that other kind of thing looks like. He can't hate football. He can't be that good at it and not love it.
Look, I don't disagree with a lot of the sentiment being expressed in this text. It's just
I
that
wish you could measure those things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We all want dogs, right? That guy that just is tough as nails and is going to lay it all on the line physically for you every single week.
It's a whole lot easier to figure out their weight and height than it is how much they love it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And another good point here regarding 1-year rentals. And by the way, I avoided 1-year rentals on this, at least in terms of the trade thing. Which position groups are more likely to work, which are least likely to work? I can't think of too many wide receivers that go to a team for 1 year and play at an all-pro level. That depends. I mean, Stephon Diggs' first year with Buffalo, I mean, it wasn't that he was only there for 1 year.
No.
Right? So maybe it's that. But sometimes you get a guy on a 1-year rental, it's because they know that they have to rehabilitate their stock, you know? So there have been receivers that have clicked, I think, obviously in free agency that go to a new team. But being a 1-year rental, I don't know if I can, give you a list of those guys that fit that category. But, there is something to be said for you don't have any guaranteed money or anything, any contract beyond this point, and you are putting it all on film for everybody else, and the only way to do that is to lay it on the line for your team. But it's a fair point. If you're bringing in a receiver for 1 year, are you going to get the best effect out of him?
Mm-hmm.
Because you do have to develop that chemistry. All right, Dylan, let's pick up the countdown.
Number 2.
Tony, I think you're up next.
Yeah, number 2 for me, another safety on my list, New Orleans safety this time, Tyrann Mathieu. Saints can save $7.1 million on their cap by trading him, but only as a post-June 1st trade. So there's no timetable on making this kind of deal, and I think it is the kind of deal that would be made after you've already figured out all the other options that you had on the table. Potentially at safety. We've talked to different people about the depth of the safety class in this year's draft, and it's not a deep group in this year's class, but it's a position for the Jaguars where they're going to need a bunch of help. So say you have your top 3 or 4 targets in free agency at the safety position, and for whatever reason they don't work out. Right? You're just not able to land them. You're not in a position in the draft to get a guy that you feel like adds value, and the Jags are in a position where they probably need to add 2, right, in this offseason. So Tyrann Mathieu, maybe late in this process is when you get back around to it, but I think it's a guy that you could bring in and kind of plug that for a year, late in the process makes a lot of sense.
One of the worst whiffs I've probably had evaluating guys coming into the league. I just thought he was too small to be an impact player like he has been at the NFL level. And I freely admit that, and there were a lot of people back in draft time. There's still a guy out there who reminds you thought Tyrann Mathieu wasn't going to be any good. I'm like, you're right.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss. What can I tell you? I certainly, if the GMs around the league don't bat 1,000, don't think I'm going to.
Right.
There's no question about that. Dylan, who you got number 2?
Derwin James, the guy you had earlier on your list. I just think he's a guy that you put him on this defense anywhere. He makes this defense a whole lot better. His contract goes for the next 2 years, about $13-14 million. Not too expensive. Defense gets a lot better. Makes sense to me.
All right. Succinct, and it makes sense to me as well. I had him at number 4 on my list. At number 2 for me, I've got a Baltimore corner, Marlon Humphrey, who is rumored to possibly be available. He's going to cost $14 and $15.25 million.
Ravens got to make some kind of space.
They have like $8 million in cap space right now, and that's the reason why people are like, well, here's a likely candidate. Marlon Humphrey will lock your butt up, all right? and he is very physical. There's something about him. Yeah. I just like watching Marlon Humphrey play and the way he plays corner. And he has that Ravens physicality mentality. He fits right in those, Baltimore, Pittsburgh type settings and things like that. But I think he could arguably come in and be your top corner, Tony. And you're not paying him like the top corner in the league. You got 2 years of control. He walks in the door as a starter. Imagine Tyson Campbell, Marlon Humphrey, and Jarian Jones as your top 3, right? And, we still need a lot of other things, but to me, I feel pretty good about the corner position. Maybe I draft another one to develop, maybe some of the guys that I currently have on the roster pick up the pace and develop a little bit more, but I wouldn't have to worry about my top 3 spots. And if you're worried about your dime corner, that's a luxury at that point. So give me Marlon Humphrey at number 2. Good size, very physical. And I think he's right up there in terms of talent level with Tyson Campbell. Doesn't necessarily get the kind of recognition like that, and he's less expensive than Tyson. He's around 30 years old, but I think he's still got a lot of football left in him.
I wonder what he would do. Like, if the Ravens actually did trade him, when he got traded, how interested would he be in reworking that deal? Because he is coming off his second first-team All-Pro season as a corner in the league, right? Like, there are reasons for Baltimore to be like, we got to figure out some of the money stuff here. And they're such a savvy organization that they could do something like that. Like, I do think Marlon Humphrey is a reasonable guy to be like, this might be available, right? And he's a good enough player that virtually every team in the league ought to be interested. If the Ravens are going to make Marlon Humphrey available, everybody ought to have some level of interest in trading for Marlon Humphrey. I do wonder from Marlon's side what he would want from whatever team would be willing to trade for him, or if he would be content to just play the next 2 years on his current deal and then see wide open free agency in front of him. But at that point, he'd be 31.
31, 32,
yeah. So I would think whoever trades for him, if he is actually that kind of, he's going to be looking for something to happen with the back end of that deal.
And maybe so. And you can structure that deal so it hits the salary cap early, or, spread it out over the first couple of years. But they could absorb right now $14 or $15 million as a starting salary at that spot,
easily,
and go from there. So I saw Marlon Humphrey's name, by the way, in a lot of lists. We'll run through some of the top 5s that you've taken the time to submit. It's not a super deep group, but we've got your impression, so we'll run through those on the other side coming up and get to our number 1 in the countdown, the Tuesday top 5. I think I know who Tony's is.
Yeah, I think I know
Tony knows who mine is. I don't know who Dylan Denmark's is, though. So we'll find out on the other side. Your top 5 trade targets for the Jaguars in the 2025 offseason. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Another season of NASCAR play-by-play starts Sunday.
minutes to the Daytona 500.
Powered by the Plumbers and Pipefitters Local Union 234.
Winning the Daytona 500
on your NASCAR station, 1010XL. Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Don't miss the Players' Championship, March 11th through 16th at TPC Sawgrass. This can't-miss event features a variety of activities for every fan to enjoy, from delicious bites to the Sawgrass Splash, there are endless fan enhancements that will make for a memorable experience. Plus, watch the top PGA Tour players, including back-to-back champion Scottie Scheffler, take on the iconic stadium course featuring the famous Island Green. Tickets available at theplayers.com.
Attention homeowners, Chelsea here. For a limited time, Renewal by Andersen is making it easy to upgrade your home during our free window month. When you buy 4 windows or patio doors, you'll get 1 free. Our exclusive Fibrex material delivers the perfect combination of energy efficiency, durability, and style. Perfect for your home makeover this season. But hurry, this offer won't last long. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation today. Renewal by Andersen, the better way to a better window. Restrictions apply. See website for details. License number CGC 1527613.
Before the Great American Race on Sunday, the high banks of Daytona heat up with a Saturday night showdown in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Experience the intense competition up close on the sport's biggest stage to kick off the 2025 season. The NASCAR Xfinity Series at Daytona International Speedway, Saturday, February 15th. Tickets start at just $49, and kids 12 and under are free in general admission. Secure your seats now at DaytonaInternationalSpeedway.com.
Transform your bathroom with stunning shower glass from Sky Glass Solutions in Jacksonville Beach. For a free quote, call 904-608-5151 or visit skyglasssolutions.com.
Have you got concrete or asphalt rubble piling up? Arcosa Crushed Concrete will pay you for it and recycle it. They're just minutes from Everbank Stadium on Talleyrand. Call Arcosa Crushed Concrete and get paid for what you don't need. ArcosaCrushedConcrete.com.
1010XL celebrates African Americans who positively impacted the First Coast. I'm RJ Saunders, and I'll share Black History Month stories with you throughout February. Black History Month on 1010XL is brought to you by Instant Keys and McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center.
Transmission troubles? I'm Robin Sidbury, owner of Action Transmission Specialist on Merrill Road. So come in and see how we can help solve your transmission troubles. We service all makes and models. Remember, get traction. Call Action at 744-0755.
Awaken 180 weight loss. Awaken 180 weight loss. Hacker here. And, a year ago, February 20th to be exact, is when I started on my Awaken 180 journey. At that point, I weighed 317 pounds. I was in a bad way, man. There's no other way to describe it. I was in a bad way. And now here we are, basically a year later, and I'm down over 115 pounds. And it's all thanks to the best weight loss program I've ever been on. I tried a lot of different things over the years. Nothing ever worked. Awaken 180 worked like a charm. Again, the best weight loss program I've ever been on. If it's time for you to lose weight like it was for me, do yourself a favor, do your family a favor, and go to awaken180weightloss.com. That's awaken180weightloss.com. Look, if I can do it, you can do it. And you could be their next success story. Do it today at Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Are you an experienced chiller technician and looking for a role where your skills are truly valued? It's time to make the move to Local 234, plumbers, pipe fitters, and HVAC technicians. You'll get top pay, comprehensive health and welfare benefits for your family, and a pension that doesn't come out of your pocket. Join the team that's got your back. Local 234, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit UA234.com to send your resume today.
Equal opportunity employer.
Guys, Valentine's Day is coming. Don't run out of time. Jacksonville Flower Market on Beach and Southside has fresh, beautiful flowers she'll love. Mention radio to get 10% off. They'll even customize the bouquet so it's unique to her. Jacksonville Flower Market on Beach and Southside.
Mia here. Since 1982, Closets by Design has specialized in creating dream spaces for every budget. My designer, Frances, made the process so easy. She came to my house and designed a beautiful walk-in closet that's already so incredibly functional for me and old Beau Valentine. Call today to schedule your free in-home consultation at 1-800-293-3744 or visit closetsbydesign.com. And take advantage of extended savings this month. Get 40% off and another 15% off with 18-month special financing.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Dailies Dash today to get your delicious Duval sub. Dailies is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down from the cool guys at Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Fast, reliable, and honest service since '87.
Reminder, tomorrow is Mock Draft Wednesday, so you can head over to ProFootballNetwork.com. We're still there. I haven't changed at this point in time. That may be coming, but go ahead and knock out a 7-round mock if you so choose, or do a shorter one if you want, and screenshot it and send it along tomorrow, and we will highlight some of those. We'll have Chad Ryder on from NFL.com talking draft, and we went through some of the highlights of his 3-round mock. I've liked them better in the past, Chad. No big guys, Tony, with those first 4 picks whatsoever. Look, I get it. Got a lot of holes. You got more than just big guy holes, but got to get those big guys, man. And, the way Tony Baselli was on just raving about the line play for the Philadelphia Eagles the other day, you got to believe Baselli's going to push heavily from his executive vice president perch to build the trenches out for this football team.
Yeah, my gut tells me, again, I was just talking about it with the Tyrann Mathieu thing and the plan with that if you're going to get a safety in this draft, that you're probably going to have to do it in the first couple days of the draft, right?
If you're going to get a starter right away, yeah.
That's the way that it feels. So I'm not surprised if you wind up seeing safety to the Jags in the second round. That's fine. I can understand that. But if you're going to go corner safety, tight end, running back, that's rough.
That's tough for me. That's too much luxury in the third round for myself, particularly in such a deep running back class right now. All right, Dylan, let's wrap up the countdown.
Number 1.
I believe, Mr. Denmark, you are up.
Ooh, let me pull my list up.
Pull it up.
Number 5, I had Deebo Samuel. Number 4, I had Jair Alexander. 3, DK Metcalf. 2, Derwin James. Number 1, why not Myles Garrett? You're going to have to give up the farm.
What are you giving up?
Josh Hines Allen and next year's first-round pick.
Okay, interesting.
I didn't even think about it. I would give up Josh Hines Allen, and I would give up two draft picks. It'd probably have to be a first and a second.
It's a lot, man.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It is a lot, bro. I mean, straight up for Josh Hines Allen, I don't know if you'd get it, but because Myles Garrett is a much better player, but he's also a few years older, too, Yeah. I don't know, man. Josh and a first seems like a bunch to me. And I don't know what the cap implications would be on moving off Josh Hines Allen anyway. I don't anticipate this is going to be a market that the Jags are in, but you're not alone. A lot of people mention Myles Garrett in their top 5, right? For me, my 5 were Garrett Wilson, the Jets wide receiver, at 5, Derwin James, the LA Chargers safety, at 4, Jordan Davis, the Philadelphia defensive tackle, at 3, Marlon Humphrey, the Baltimore corner, at 2, and I think Tony and I had the same number 1. That's Jair Alexander. Dylan had him on his list as well. Going to make a little bit more than Marlon Humphrey, but he's also a little bit younger than Marlon Humphrey. But he's missed some games, Tony, in the last couple of years, and that may keep his compensation a little bit lower. And you've got a guy who's your defensive coordinator now who's on that Green Bay staff should know what makes Jair Alexander tick. If you were to make a move for him, that comes with the express, unwritten consent of Anthony Campanile. It would have to, right? He's not going to go, I'm not sure about this guy, and you go out there and make a big move. Similar to Marlon Humphrey, he comes in, profiles as maybe your number 1 corner. I think Jair Alexander, when he's healthy and on top of his game, one of the best cover guys in the National Football League, making 16.15 and 18.15 over the next couple of years. Saw a projected trade at Bleacher Report. I know you did as well, Tone. The 88th pick in the draft for Jair Alexander and a 6th. Again, if he's willing to come in and play out the deal on that, 88th pick in the draft, that's not a sure thing, right? But you're getting a sure thing starter, and then maybe you do extend him and you lower that cap hit in one of those years, and you have him for a couple more years on the back end. Again, got to prove that he's healthy, all these things, but Jair Alexander clicks and checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah, 5-1 for me. I started with Cincinnati guard Alex Kappa at number 5. Number 4, Cincinnati safety Geno Stone. 3, Philadelphia nose tackle Jordan Davis. And number 2, New Orleans safety Tyrann Mathieu. And number 1, I do have Jair Alexander. He's an all-pro level player when he's able to play. And as you said, the familiarity with the new defensive coordinator, like he should know. Whatever the inside story is on what's been going on with Jair, the injury history, all those kind of things, his level of comfort speaks a lot to how comfortable the Jaguars should be in even thinking about this kind of move, right? Like where he's at this point in his career, you have a guy that's got the inside story on that from being up there and coaching with him here the last couple of years. So you have some kind of inside access on Jair Alexander specifically, which is why he's at number 1 for me, is that you do have a GM that should know, right? Is this the direction we should go? If we're looking to add a corner in the trade market, is this the direction we should go? You have a guy in the building that can tell you yes, no, right? Like how comfortable he is or isn't with that kind of move. So that's why it's at number 1 for me. And like I said, he's an all-pro level player when he's been healthy, but the health has been a big question the last 3 years for Jair Alexander. When he's played, he's a Pro Bowler. When he's played, he's been a second-team All-Pro. When he's had 2 healthy seasons in the last 4, he's been a second-team All-Pro. And the other 2, he's been able to play 7 games apiece. What's going on with that? I can't answer those kind of questions, but I think you brought somebody in the building that can tell you how comfortable you should or shouldn't be with thinking about this kind of move.
All right, let me take a look at a few of the top 5s that got submitted. Our buddy Josh Carney goes 5-1. A lot of people mentioned Kyle Pitts in there. I looked at him, and again, he didn't fit my rule of not bringing in guys that were on the last year of their deal. He's on the 5th-year option this year for $10 million. Now, that doesn't mean it couldn't work out, but what are you willing to pay to find out? And you only get 1 year to make it happen. It hasn't happened in Atlanta, and if Atlanta's willing to move off of him with a young quarterback and you take away one of the primary weapons, what would that say about their belief in the value of investing in him long term, right? Yeah. So he didn't make the
Pitts
cut
hasn't been noisy. Like, it's not like whatever the way he's been used in the last couple of years that he's been screaming, hey, what about me? Like, he's been very quiet through this whole thing dealing with whatever's going on in Atlanta. I don't know what that says or doesn't say, but he's not a squeaky wheel. Like, that's not the kind of thing we've seen from him, at least to this point.
I'm enamored with his athleticism as much as anybody. I'm just not willing. Like Josh suggested, a 3rd or 4th rounder. Like, do I want to give up a 3rd rounder for a guy I've got 1 year of team control, or I'm going to have to franchise him potentially? I don't know. Not for me. I tried to avoid that. So anyway, he had Pitts, T. Higgins at 4, Cooper Kupp at 3, Sam Hubbard, the defensive end, at 2, and then Marlon Humphrey at number 1, which certainly jibes with my thinking with Marlon Humphrey. Had him very high as well. Let me jump back over to this page here. Let's see. A few more here. Our man Gus Logue, he's inside the building. The call is coming from inside the building. 5-1. Kyle Pitts, Marlon Humphrey, Garrett Wilson, Trey Hendrickson, and Myles Garrett. And he acknowledged the first 2, Garrett and Hendrickson, very unlikely to happen. Hendrickson has led the league in sacks the last 2 years, by the way, and probably be less expensive than Myles Garrett would be. Let's see. Cristiano goes Humphrey, Derwin James, Alex Kappa, Jair Alexander, Minka Fitzpatrick. I thought about Minka too. His name's been mentioned, but I got a feeling that the compensation Pittsburgh would want for Minka would be pretty steep.
They paid a lot to get him.
They gave up a 1st rounder to get him, right? Like a late first. He was the 11th pick in the draft. So they gave up a late first, and he's been fantastic for them. But I would think it would at least cost you your 36th pick in the draft, which is not, if I could get him there and he was happy about staying here for the long term, I'd consider him. But I just wonder if they'd want like a 2nd and a 4th or whatever it would be. Anyway, didn't make the cut for me, but certainly reasonable to be included on somebody's list. Let's put it that way. Some other names that got mentioned: J.C. Horn. He's had a lot of injury issues, but a talented corner for sure. Budda Baker got mentioned as a possibility here. Let's see. Some people just submitting one name, and that's totally fine as far as that goes. A lot of Cooper Kupp, DJ Reader, Joe Tooney as well getting mentioned. Look, immediate aftermath, you're like, oh, that Chiefs offensive line was terrible. Well, Tooney was playing out of position, right? I still think Trey Smith is going to get paid in free agency. Creed Humphrey's still arguably the best center in the National Football League. They had a bad day against a very talented front four.
Yep.
Look, if Tooney wanted to come here and play guard for a couple of years, buddy, I'd be down with that. Some more Jordan Davis, more Buda Baker, Debo Samuel. We hit a lot. Jadeveon Clowney, another name.
Saw a few places.
I had him on my short list as well, but I think he's got one more year left on his deal. I couldn't come up in my mind, like, what's the proper compensation for Jadeveon Clowney, you know?
I would think it's probably 5th, 6th.
Something like that, right? Like late pick, come in as our third pass rusher, rotational guy.
Yeah.
He's scheduled to make $8.5 million this year.
That kind of thing. Talking about the names that I thought about but didn't make my list, the only ones that we haven't discussed to some degree to this point that I was at least thinking about putting my 5, cornerback Martin Emerson Jr.
I had him too.
Right?
Yep.
Like that would be a short-term thing. But defensive lineman Grady Jarrett there in Atlanta. And another defensive lineman in Atlanta there, David Onyemata, was at least one that I was considering. Jack Jones, the cornerback in Las Vegas, who I don't know what kind of defense they're going to be wanting to run in Vegas, and I don't know how well or not Jack Jones actually fits in whatever Jacksonville's going to want to do here, but I think the wide openness of where they're at there with the Raiders makes him a possibility at least to get moved this offseason.
All right, now our time is up, so let's welcome in Helmets and Heels.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. Find the coolest cats in town at coolcatsjacks.com.
All right, LB Lauren Brooks out at Jacksonville University today. It's JU Day. Lauren, good morning still. I had to look real quick. This click in my head. Yes, it's still morning. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. And yes, it is technically still morning every time we chat, but almost noon, of course, because we're coming up. So yeah, it is JU Day. We're live here at the Kenny Center right on campus, and it's a beautiful campus, and we're going to have a lot of fun today telling everyone all about the auction items, and we're going to chat with 2 different members of the JU coaching staff, both lacrosse head coaches, men's and women's, John Galloway and Tara Singleton, and so excited about that as well.
Can't wait. All right, and obviously now Our focus for the Jaguars is on the general manager search. Ian Rappaport threw another name into the bin, saying as many as 10. And he said at least one internal candidate, maybe more. What other internal candidates beyond Ethan Waugh are we interviewing for the Jaguars general manager position here, Lauren?
I thought it was you, Mike. I thought you were the internal candidate.
If that's the case, then I'm available. All right? Because I guarantee you, I will take the
last week's mock draft, make an impression.
I want $1 less than the lowest paid GM, and I'm your Huckleberry. All right, Lauren.
Albert.
Yeah, go ahead.
Quick,
Sorry.
Mike, Albert Beard, just know you're good. Just tweeted out Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham will interview for the Jaguars general manager job on Friday. He is a strong candidate, and he has been since Liam Cohen's hiring to land the job. So there's some more news for you.
There you go. Right, and that, like we said, the process is beginning now. By the end of next week, they'll probably have a general manager, So we'll see. Hopefully it goes smoothly, and we get somebody that makes all the right selections. You ladies have a wonderful show out there at JU today, okay?
Thanks so much, Mike.
All right, thank you. We'll be listening. Lauren Brooks, Taylor Dahl, Mia O'Brien coming up for the next couple of hours here. Tomorrow on the show, again, go to ProFootballNetwork.com. You can knock out a mock draft at your leisure, right? Do full 7, put it on fast draft, pick the Jags, and you can knock that thing out literally in less than 5 minutes, okay? And anyway, screenshot your efforts. Send them along to us tomorrow, either on the text line while we're on the air, or we'll send out a tweet that you can reply to with your mock drafts as well tomorrow. And we'll have Chad Ryder from NFL.com stopping by to talk draft here midweek. That'll do it for us. For Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. Stick around for Helmets and Heels next on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Food Sandwiches, Subs, absolutely.